Alrighty, here's a video about how to shuffle tarot cards. Every once in a while I'll get a question about that. And I guess the simple answer is there's no best way to do it. I looked at a bunch of videos this morning just at the thumbnails, and a lot of them said this is the best way to do it, or this is the only way to do it, but there's no best way to do it. The most important thing is to get them well shuffled. And I think what's important is to do, once you get into a pattern of shuffling, just do the same thing every time. Because somehow the cards pick up on your patterns. Whether it's the cards or the spirits or whatever is influencing it. Because the cards are influenced by something. And it could be something coming from you, or the person you're reading for, or from the spirit world, anywhere. But if you follow the same pattern every time, which is what I do when I do my live streams, I follow exactly the same pattern. And then the cards will pick up on what you're doing, and they'll somehow, the cards, when you're shuffling, it doesn't seem like it can happen. But somehow it happens, and it picks it up, and when you lay the cards down, they tell the story. And they're accurate. I don't know how they do it, but somehow they do it. So the main idea is pick up a style that's comfortable for you. What I'm doing right now is what I normally do to start out with before I get started. As I'm reading the question or thinking about the question, I'm doing these kind of things to get the cards well mixed up. And a lot of times I'll follow patterns of 3. That's my particular style. And then once I feel I'm asking the cards the question, I read the question on the screen, and then I'm asking the cards the question while I'm shuffling. And then when I feel ready, I'll just split the cards like that. And then get them in my hands. And just simple as that. And then I bring the cards together, and then I see what happens. They're not doing it now, but a lot of times what will happen is as soon as I get them up, and they're not doing it now because I'm not asking any questions or doing a reading, they'll just split by themselves. And if you watch some of my videos, my live streams, I'll hold the cards up to the screen and say, there they split again. Because they'll split all by themselves. And what that's telling me is to shuffle it a second time. It's not doing it now because we're not doing an actual live stream. And then I'll shuffle it again. And see, they're not doing it. But they'll do it. If you watch one of my live streams, then usually what I'll do is like that, 3 times. I always do numbers of 3. Then at that point they would split. They would usually split like that, sometimes really weird splits like this where I have to shuffle that into that. But it's always on my live streams. I'm always holding up the deck and my thumb will be on it like that, and I'm showing that they split by themselves. And eventually they'll get to the point where they won't split anymore. And then that's my signal to cut the cards. And what I do is I do it in the old gypsy way, where I put the deck down over here, giving myself enough room right there, and then I use my left hand, and I'll cut one pile there, and then a second pile there. Now this is the pile that goes on top, because when you take this card was the one that was originally on top, then this is the second cut. So if you just left it the way it was, you would start reading from this one. But then when you do a second cut, you end up with this pile. So this is the pile you want. because this is the deepest down it's gone, if that makes sense. I think I may have just confused everybody right there. But you make 3 piles, and this is the one you want, the bottom one. Then you take the bottom one, you're still using your left hand, and you put it on top of that one, because that was the second one, and this is the first one, so that one goes on the bottom. That's the only part, as far as I can tell, that matters. Because that's the old-fashioned way of doing it from hundreds of years ago. And you have to get that part right, because you have to have the bottom one go on top. And now you're ready. Now you can start turning the decks. Ooh, good one to start with. The tower. But I think for me that's the most important one, where I cut it 3 times with my left hand. Everything else is the pattern I've developed over time, where I'll do things in 3s. And this one is a 3, so the others are in 3s. And then I'll keep cutting until the cards stop splitting. And then that means I'm ready to cut the cards. But whichever way you want to do it, I've seen people do it in all kinds of different ways, where they'll do just this one here. And they'll do it real fast or slow, and this is all they do. Or they'll do real fancy shuffling. You know, where you cut the cards. I can't do it. What do they call it? Bridging? Is that what they call it? Where you do it this way, and then they'll lift the cards up and do it that second way, where it all shuffles back down. If I tried to do that during a live stream, the cards would go flying everywhere. But you can do it any way that you feel comfortable with. And then whatever you're doing, you're asking the question when you're doing it. And then the answer to the question will go into the cards. And I don't know how it works, like I said earlier, but it works. And the cards pick up on your patterns. The cards learn your patterns, or the spirits learn your patterns. So as long as you do the same pattern every time, then you're repeating the same thing, the same numbers, like doing that. That's my pattern. And then I'll see where it separates, and then I'll shuffle it. Because usually after I do that 3, 1, 2, 3, then I bring it together with this hand, and then I settle it with that hand, and that's always when it splits. It hasn't done it once since I started the video, because we're not doing an actual video. We're not doing an actual stream or reading. But if you go back and look at my streams, I don't even know if you can see the screen. It's way up in the corner here, but one is going right now. A playback of one. But I'm always lifting up the cards. Whenever I'm doing it, I'm saying, they're not ready yet. I'll do it like that. And then eventually, and they're always splitting. All kinds of, sometimes they'll even split twice. And then I have to figure out which one to take. But they're all, then that's how the cards are telling me, keep shuffling. And when they stop splitting, then they're like that, they're ready. Then I do the gypsy cut. But that's it. So I guess the basic idea of it is there's no perfect way to do it. If you go on and see thumbnails of videos and the person is saying, here's the only way to do it, or here's the perfect way to do it, or here's the best way to do it. That's what I was looking at this morning. Everybody was saying stuff like that. But there is no best way. There is no perfect way. Each person has their own way of doing it. And that's it. That's the secret. Just pick your way that you're comfortable with. Whatever your hands can do. I can't do the real fancy shuffling. That's why I do the most basic things. Because of my hands can't do that. Aren't dexterous enough to do those bridges and things where they do all fancy stuff. So I do what I can do. And maybe you have small hands or really big hands. My hands are kind of big for the deck, so that makes it a little difficult. You might have real tiny hands, and that'll make it difficult. So just pick whatever's comfortable for you. And that's the best way to do it. And then just keep doing that pattern over and over. Don't change patterns, because the cards and the spirits pick up on the patterns. And that's how they know where to put the cards for the reading, because they know your patterns and where you cut things. Because I always, even though it's random like that, it still ends up being pretty much even. So those are almost perfect. And I just did it randomly. And that's how it works when I'm doing a regular one. Then I take that one, put it there, and that one, put it there, and it's ready. So the cards learn your patterns and how far down you go. Like that much. But that's it. So this is it. I haven't done one of these in a long time. Maybe 2 or 3 years. So I thought I'd do one, because I get that question every once in a while. And that's it. So I'm about to start a stream. If you want to come back someday and watch one of my streams, I do about 2.5 hours of tarot reading. And they're fun. You'll see how accurate these cards get. It's pretty amazing. And it's not me, it's the cards. I just cut. I just shuffle and cut, and I'm the translator between the cards and the reader. I'm the familiar between the spirit world and the real world. So it's not, a lot of people say it's coming from me, but it's not coming from me. It's coming from the cards or the spirits working through the cards. And the same thing will happen to you, where the spirits or whatever the force is, it'll work through the cards into you. And then you'll read the cards, and then it'll work. All right, that's it for this video. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.